Good evening and welcome, everyone. Thanks for having you join us tonight. We'll be starting in a short while. Please stay tuned. Please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be starting in a short while. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for having you. You're welcome. Yes. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm excited to have you join us tonight on this is Start Your Marriage Right Academy. It's an academy where intending couples and singles preparing for marriage get value and they get prepared for the beautiful journey ahead of them. It's an academy where we give value. It's an academy where we talk about issues and topics that relate to how you can be that desirable spouse. I'd like to have you join us. If you have not been following our page before now, please do. And you can be sure that you get wonderful content that will bless your life. Tonight we'll be having discussion, and the discussion will be centered around health and medical choices before marriage. It's a beautiful topic and I'm so excited. I'm your host tonight. My name is Coach Odunsi Oluwashijibomi. Why do we need to have discussions like this? Excuse me. As singles and young adults intending to get married, there are quite a number of discussions, there are quite a number of decisions we need to make together before the union starts. There are quite a host of questions you need to decide. Yes, love is good. Love is beautiful. It is good to hang around, rejoice, and enjoy this time of courtship. But beyond the enjoyment, you really need to solidify things and prepare very well for the journey ahead of you. And that is why this topic is one of the crucial topics and one of the crucial decisions you should have as spouse. Let me say that it is not only for intending couples. Maybe you are even married and you are joining us tonight. You may take one or two things. There may be a lot, some of these discussions that maybe you have not, before now, you have not concluded about, that you may need to decide about right now. Yes, health, they say, is wealth. Taking care of yourself is not just a priority, but it is a necessity. It is important to take care of yourself because a healthy family is a wealthy family. Being healthy is not just about you be physically whole and fit alone. It's not just about you be free from sickness, ailments, and disease. It is that you are healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. That's what it means to be healthy. It's not just about you not having any sickness. I'm fine, I don't have headache. There are people who are physically fine, but who are emotionally sick. There are people who are emotionally sound, but who are mentally sick. Yes, it could be any of it. But having all those parameters, being whole in all those parameters, it's you being healthy. Your marriage is as healthy as you are, because it takes two flourishing individuals to make a marriage work. For you to enjoy bliss, you have to be, you have to be healthy, you have to be whole. When you are sick, how can you enjoy your marriage? How can your spouse enjoy you? How can your children enjoy you? So it takes two flourishing, healthy individuals to make a marriage work. And you can only be active and functional when you are healthy. There are a lot of people who actually have plans, beautiful plans, but because they are sick, they are not able to bring these plans to fruition. So it is important that you take care of yourself. It is important that you plan how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your spouse, how to take care of your family before the marriage starts. Taking care of your physical and emotional well-being is a parameter to moving forward in life. You want to move forward in life, you have dreams, you have aspirations. Most of us, we have dreams, you have aspiration. Oh, I see myself in the next 5 years here. This is what I see. This is what the vision I have for my family. Yes, all this can only come to pass when you are healthy. When you are sick, every other thing is fine until someone falls sick. When you are sick, every other thing is at a halt. What you'll be, at that time when anybody is sick, all you'll be pursuing is, how do I get well? How do I get well? So it is important that we take issues about our health. It is important that we take it, as a matter of urgency and importance. Love is good. Love is beautiful. But love comes at a cost. It's not just, you want to love. Yes, there's a cost for love. There are a lot of responsibilities that comes with love and that comes with marriage. And one of them is the ability for you as a person to take care of yourself. Or maybe before now, you have just been living your life carelessly. Oh, you are free. Now that you are planning to go into a serious relationship or you are planning marriage, it is important that you take your health, issues about your health. It is important that you take it very, very and more seriously than you have been before now. The ability to take care of yourself, the ability to take care of your immediate family. You can only be able to take care of your immediate family very well when you are able to take care of yourself very well. And in this regard, your immediate family are talking about your spouse, talking about the children that will join you, the addition, responsibility begins to build like that. You begin to talk about in-laws, you begin to talk about guidance, you begin to talk about, a lot of responsibilities all around you. When people are sick, oftentimes I've seen when people are sick and, maybe they are in the hospital on admission, the people who are worst hit are the family members that are running ill, helter-skelter to make sure everything is fine. Usually the person on the sick bed may not really feel it too much except for the discomfort. But the people taking care of him, or her, are the worst hit. They are traumatized. They are disturbed. They are worried. So you don't want to put the peace and the harmony of your family in jeopardy because of your carelessness or because you are not taking things seriously. So it is important that this discussion and this thing we are talking about tonight, this topic about health and medical choices, you take it with utmost importance and you sit down with your spouse, come to a round table and have discussions around it's a big topic, and have discussions around it as it suits your family. Having well-being conversation includes the body. You're going to be talking about the body, talking about your soul, talking about your spirit. This is a skill that everyone that is intending marriage or every married couple should build. If you have not been, if before now you have not been doing it, you have to know how to build this conversation, how to talk about it. And this discussion, let me tell you, should be based on the dynamics of your family. How do I mean on the dynamics of your family? The peculiarity of each of our family differs. What you do is different from what I do. Oh, who I am, my personality is different from your personality. Our budget, remember, always differs. We earn differently, a lot of things. The location where we are. I'm based in Nigeria. Some persons are listening to me from Europe. Some persons are listening to me from the Caribbean, from wherever you are listening to me, understand the basis and the peculiarity, the dynamism, the dynamics of your family, and plan along that line. What works for Mr. A may not work for you. It is important that you agree on the processes, the procedures, the guidelines that will reflect what your family stands for and what you will reflect as it concerns your health and your well-being and the well-being of your family. What are healthy lifestyle choices? Healthy lifestyle choices are the choice you make and things that affect your health. The health, I said it earlier, that it is not just about you free from sickness. It's talking about your emotional, talking about your social, talking about, your mental, everything. It can encompasses all of this. So the choices you'll be making should be such that it favors your health. It favors the health of everything, all of your family members, all of your spouse, even the unborn children. It is important that you plan ahead of them. It is not when they come that you begin to plan for them. So it is important to have this discussion, and this discussion cuts across a whole lot of topics, and I will highlight just few of them because of our time tonight. You're going to be, it is important that you have discussion around your physical well-being. Talking about the family physical well-being charter. This is about you. How do you want your family to look? What kind of children do you want to raise? What picture? What is it what picture do you have of your children, of your spouse? And it is not only for maybe some persons are feeling, oh, maybe they should be speaking to just the female gender or the male gender. It is for the two, both sexes, both male and female should go together and make this decision. How do you want to structure your diet? Structure your diet based on your weight, based on your height, based on your health demands. What kind of food do you want to take? How do you want to plan? How do you want to modify your meal? To say, oh, these are our needs, these are our demands. This is how I should plan it. Those are discussions you should have. You should be, vulnerable enough to ask your spouse and be sincere enough to ask yourselves and say, oh, what kind of meal do you like? What kind of meal do you, such that you can plan ahead to see how can we work around it. Maybe someone feel like, oh, I like beans. The other person feel, oh, I don't like beans. You can say, okay, how do we modify taking beans in a way that it will be more appealing to both of us and to the entire family? You need to speak and agree on your family menu, because your family menu has to serve your immediate family. You can't impose your previous menu and to say, oh, this is me. If I just take Indomie, I'm fine for the rest of the day. Now you are going to be responsible. Now it's not about you. It's about the whole team. It's about the whole family. So it is important that you sit down and, structure these things. Oh, some persons, where we come from, usually we feel that, okay, after marriage, after the wedding, few weeks after, we should see the husband big, you see the wife getting fatter. A lot of person will want to do. It is not just about that. It's about you doing this thing, structuring this thing in a way that it will both, benefit both of you. You will love it, and it will meet your health demands. It is important that you discuss your family hygiene. Discuss issues around your family hygiene. You should be able to discuss. So how often do you do your laundry? How often do you do your the fumigation of your house? How often do you do this? These are things you need to speak about before you get married. You may wonder, these are trivial issues. Should this be necessary? Yes, I say it is necessary. It is important that you understand this kind. Maybe your husband is, or your spouse, or your wife is someone that washes just once a month. And this is you. You wash every other day. Immediately you come back from work and you are taking your bath, you wash your clothes immediately. Now marrying someone that washes just once a week, it is important that you both discuss about it. Have discussions around that kind of issue, and reach a conclusion. Reach a conclusion where you now agree on, oh, this is what we'll be doing going forward. This is what we'll be doing, when we get married. The next thing I want to say, one of the discussions you should have is about your work rest charter. What will be your family rest culture? How do you refresh yourself? How do you refresh? How do you know when you are exhausted, when you are burnt out, how do you refresh yourself? How do you rest? How do you rejuvenate back to your person? How do I know that you are tired? You know, some persons will just feel like, oh, why are you like this? And the other person says, I'm tired. It should not be, you should have a way of communicating. You should be able to tell your spouse that, okay, when I'm exhausted, when I'm tired, I just want my space. I just want to be alone. I'm quiet. Whatever it is important that you discuss with your spouse to say, oh, this is how I recreate. This is how I refresh. This is how I get my strength back. After let me just take my nap. Let me just take let me just rest 2 or 3 hours and I'm fine. It is important that you discuss about this before now. So that your spouse, you can both agree and to say when I'm exhausted, how can I help you when you are exhausted? When your spouse know that, oh, these are the signs. Oh, if my spouse is like this, it means she's tired. Oh, she's not forming, she's not angry. She's simply tired and she needs her time. When you have been able to communicate to your spouse how you rest, the best way you love it to recreate, to refresh yourself, the person will understand. It is important that you discuss this issue and you stand by it. Let me give you an example. While I was growing up, my foster parents, they were priests, they were Anglican priests. So usually the weekend is, back to back is busy for us. Saturdays, we have events in church, events, weddings, burials, ceremonies in church on Saturdays. And on Sundays too, we have service, we have the first service, second service, and we have meetings upon meetings like that. And back to back, usually the weekend is busy for us. From Friday, maybe have vigils, and Saturdays we have programs. Sundays too, we are busy. So my foster father, back then, every Monday of every week, he does not see anybody. The only thing he does is he does not even come downstairs. He stays upstairs in the sitting room. He takes his meal upstairs and he sleeps. That's all he does for that day. He does not see anybody. I remember back then, there was a one-time governor of Ogun State was going to have a function in our church. And he came around on a Monday to see him so that they could discuss. I remember mommy had to attend to him. Mom attended to him and told him that, I'm sorry, my husband is around, but he doesn't take guests today. He doesn't see guests today. Today, all he does is rest and prepare for the week again. It was that strict. And thank God the man was able to, he didn't take it personal. He was able to relate very well. And he confided in mom what he came to do. And they discussed. I'm saying that it is important that you have your rest, work rest charter. How do we rest? It is important to have, do we want to be planning our vacations together? When do we want to take our annual vacation? Are we going to be having it separately? Should we have it in the middle of the year during summer? Or, we move it. These are decisions you need to make together. Also, another one of the decisions, healthy lifestyle choices you need to make together is your social well-being charter. Your social well-being charter talks about everything that has to do with your social life. Oh, how do we go for events? How do we prioritize events to go to? Should we just take up all invitations that comes to us? Should we divide it? Should just one person represent the family? Should we go as a team? Should we go as a couple? Which of them do we turn down? Which of them do we, it is important so that you strike a balance so that it does not affect your family. It is important that you take this kind of decision to say, oh, we want to go for at least 2 or 3 events in a week, in a month, and it's okay it is important that you take this kind of decisions together with your spouse to decide about your social well-being charter. The last one, I said I'll just be highlighting a few for us. The last one I'll be talking about under this is your spiritual well-being charter. How do you take care of your faith? How do you take care of your faith? What are the things that strengthens your spiritual well-being? Remember, we are spiritual beings too. So how do you take care of your spiritual being? For some persons, you have been trained, you grew up having to fast once a week. When I was growing up, my parents, every Wednesday we fast. Every Wednesday, we don't even cook. Nobody, we already know. So even if guests come, we tell them that Wednesdays we fast. fasting. For some persons, it may be camp meetings. For some persons, it may be retreats. For some persons, it may be vigil. It is important that you discuss about all those things I have highlighted. It is important that you sit together with your spouse and discuss about them so that you can be on both, you both can be able to relate, and you can be on both, you can be on the same page together. So I'll be moving to the medical choices now. This is a very crucial topic too. It's a very crucial one. And the conversations around, medical decisions are decisions you both need to make together. And one of those decisions you need to make is, who will be part of our medical well-being team when we come together as a family? Who are those that will be part of our medical team? You both need to look at your health demands and see, who do we need to be in our team based on the dynamics of your family, like I mentioned earlier. Do we need a nutritionist? Do we need a psychologist? Do we need a gym instructor? Do we need gynecologist? Is it a neurologist we need? Is it an optometrist we need? Is it a pediatrician we need? It cuts across. You both need to come together and say, who will be part of our medical well-being team as a family? It is important based on the demands of your family. Maybe you are even a music minister. You might say, I need someone who will train my voice. I need somebody help me with my voice. You can say, I've had 1 or 2 ministrations today. I can see I'm almost losing my voice. Someone like me might say, I need someone to tell me, to help me with how do I manage my voice. So you both need to discuss as a family who will be in this team for you and make, conclude about it. The next thing you need to make, a decision you will need to make as a family, as a team together before your marriage is, who will be our family doctor? Do you even believe in having family doctor? And if it's important, I would say it's important that you have a family doctor. What will be the criteria with which you will use to pick and select this family doctor? Are you going to base it on, is it competence? Or to say, if it is going to be based on where do we stay? When we decide on where we stay, who will be our doctor? Is it going to be based on competence? Is it going to be based on proximity? Someone can say, as much as I like Echo Hospital, now that we stay in Lekki, I may want to prefer Duchess Hospital as our family hospital. Do you want to do it based on proximity and location? Do you want to do it based on referral? Maybe you just ask a church member and say, we are moving to Lagos Island. Do you know a very good hospital that we could use as a family? You can use it based on referral. Ask 1 or 2, sample opinions here and there, and pick who your family. Do you want to do it based on goodwill? Do you want to do it based on competence to say, I want to get a specialist. You want to have a specialist on our team. I don't just want to use a GP. A lot of persons believe if you don't have any medical condition, a GP may be okay, a general practitioner may be okay. Some other person may decide and say, we want to have a specialist as our family doctor. Whichever one you decide, it is important that you make these decisions together, and everyone should be okay with this decision so that you can be free, you can be vulnerable, you can be sincere enough with your family doctor. This is important that you also know. It is important that you are also open to yourself, open and sincere with yourself, to be able to discuss amidst yourself if there are existing medical conditions in your family. If there are existing medical conditions in my family, it is important that my spouse know, and it is important that he knows very, very early. It is important because there's no point hiding some whatever runs in your family, whatever sickness is in your family. There's no point hiding it from someone you want to spend the rest of your life with. In fact, he will be able to assist you and help you. And if you don't know, it is important because there are some sickness and there are some ailments that skip generations. There may be some ailments in your family that maybe your dad or your mom has some ailments, has some condition, maybe like hypertension or diabetics. You may not have it. It may skip you, but it may go to your children. There are some sickness, they say it is hereditary. You may skip one generation and go to another. I know of a family, and one of their sons, one of their male child I think it was around 7 years, started complaining about, started complaining about not seeing well. He started complaining about, his eyes and all that. And the parents were like, oh, what is your problem? As old as we are, we don't have issues. So it's because you are watching too much of a cartoon. They said he has to reduce his screen time. And it was later, while it was getting more serious, that they found out that there was glaucoma in one of the grandparents. One of the grandparents had glaucoma. In fact, this glaucoma led to blindness in this grandparent. But they didn't seem to take it important. The husband did not even know that one of his in-laws died of glaucoma. They were just feeling that, oh, this boy, he has been watching too much cartoon. Is the screen time. He has to reduce the screen time. Not until they took him to the hospital and they found out that this boy was having serious glaucoma. In fact, the pressure on his eyes was even much more than should be for his age. So it is important that you discuss with your spouse if there are existing medical conditions in your family, that you may be able to combat it together. You both need to run basic medical tests together and decide on how often you want to be doing this. There are quite a number of basic medical tests that you should run and have as a family. I will highlight just a few of them tonight. They are basic ones. The list is not exhaustive. These few, the 5 that I'll be talking about is not all, but I'll just highlight this. This is important that you together as a team run this test before your marriage and even decide on how often you're going to be having it, because it's not a one-off thing. That you are certified fit today does not mean that you are fit forever. It is important that you structure how you would, structure how you'll be able to take this test and follow through and follow up with it. The first one I'm going to be talking about is your blood pressure. I was, I think 2 or 3 days ago, I saw an article where they said, after a research, they found out that over 89 million Lagosians has high blood pressure. Over 89 million Lagosians. We are very close to Lagos. Quite a number of us are residing in Lagos, Nigeria. And most 80% of those people don't even know that they have high blood pressure. 80% are not even aware, because a lot of us usually are careless and ignorant about our health. But now that marriage is knocking, now that love has stepped in, it is important that you take issues about your health more seriously and know your figures. It is when you know your figures, you can control your figures. You should be able to say, oh, this is my average blood pressure. You should be able to say it and say that of your spouse. To say, oh, my spouse, this is his average blood pressure. It is important to know your figures. It is important to know what is it that triggers my blood pressure. Oh, when I have sleepless nights, 1 or 2 vigils like that, it triggers my high blood pressure. My diet, I found someone that told me that whenever I take this agege bread, with so much bromate, all this agege bread, he said, as much as I love agege bread, because of the high level of bromate in some of them, it triggers my high blood pressure. For some person, it is pregnancy induced. Some persons, it will be fine until they get pregnant, and they have pregnancy induced hypertension, or preeclampsia as they call it. For some persons, it is hereditary. Nothing, it just runs in the family like that. It is important that you know your figures. It is important that you do this test regularly. Thank God for technology now. All this, before now, you may need to go to a medical facility to have your blood pressure done. But now, every other person, we have it. We have the digital, we have the analog, whichever one, we have the handy ones that could even be in your bag. And, in at least 3 days, it is important that in 3 days, you have your blood pressure, you get to know your blood pressure and do it at least once in 3 days. It is safe for you. The next one I'm going to be talking about, the basic medical test that you should both run together, is your blood sugar. It is important that you know your blood sugar, that you know your figures, know your numbers. Know what is my blood sugar, what is my fasting blood sugar, what is my non-fasting blood sugar. All these are simple tests that you can even do yourself. All those kits, they sell it in pharmacies and chemists around us. There are kits that you can have. I may suggest that the first one you would do as a team, yes, you can go to a reliable and trusted diagnostic center, but subsequently you can add them. You can say, oh, we're going to be doing an annual, annual checkup in a registered and in a recognized medical laboratory. And but these ones are things you can't wait. You can't be doing these ones annually. There are things you should be doing over. There are tests you should be doing over and over, so that you can be able to control and regulate yourself. Blood pressure. Some persons may say that, oh, what are the symptoms of your blood pressure going up? Some persons say, oh, I have headache at this side of my eyes. Some persons will say insomnia. I'm not able to see very well. Some persons say, I'm just disturbed. I'm just worked up. Know what is it? What are the symptoms of these things, of this, of these ailments for you, so that you can be able to know your figures, regulate it, and work to control it at every time. The next one I'll be speaking about is your blood group. And I want you to listen to me very well about your blood group. We have different classifications of blood group. And one of them, I will mention just 2 classifications of blood group. And it is important that you know your blood group. The first one, we have the ABO blood group type. The ABO blood group type. And this is one is, your blood group is either O, is either A, is either B, and is either AB. We have 4 classifications under this type of blood group. We have you either an A O, AB, or A. O, A, B, and AB. You get this combination from both parents, from your both parents. You get this combination from them. And any of these ones can marry each other. O can marry A can marry O, A can marry B, B can marry AB. There is no restriction about the matching of this blood group, but you get it from your parents. It is important that you know your figures. And don't be like some of us. When I was younger, I just assumed that I was O positive. So throughout school, if anybody asks me, I just tell them I am O positive. It is important that you don't do a guesswork. That any of your sibling or your parent is O positive does not mean that you'll be O positive. You get this combination from both parents, and it could be any combination. So it is important that you take this test. It is important that you take it in a registered and a recognized laboratory, so that you can be sure of the results you are getting. It is important that you know your blood group before you get married. The next classification I'll be explaining is the rhesus blood group. In this classification, each of us, you are either a positive or a negative. I mentioned earlier about the ABO blood group. You are either an A, O, AB, or AB. Then you now move to this other second one, this second classification. This classification classifies each of us as either a positive or a negative. You belong to either of them. And the medical significance of this one, about this rhesus factor, is that when a positive man, I want you to listen to me very well. When a man that is positive marries a woman that is negative, the child, the babies that will come, will either pick from the father or the mother. It means the baby could either be positive or a negative. And the thing you should know here is that for a child that is positive, when a child is positive and the mother is negative, let's assume the mother is negative, the babies that come, if they are positive, if they are negative, there is no issue. But if any of this baby are positive like their father, if any of this baby is positive like their father, it means that the body, after delivery of the first child, will see this baby, during childbirth, during labor, be it normal delivery, be it cesarean section, during labor, there's a mixture of blood. Maybe when they are cutting the cord, maybe when they are suturing, there's a mixture of blood. So when this blood mixes up and the baby is positive and the mother is negative, the human body, the body of the mother, will see this blood as a foreign body. And it will, it will sensitize the blood. It will sensitize the body as if there's a foreign body that is coming. The first child will usually go scot-free. But subsequent children, if they are positive like their father, the body will tend to build immunity against them, and they may harm this baby. So it is important that you know and discover whether you are a resource positive or a resource negative. Because if the mother is a resource negative, it is important that after delivery of each of the child, it takes an injection called Rogamol within 72 hours of delivery. You take this injection, that the blood of the child that has mixed up with the mother will be coated so that the body will not see it as a foreign object and, sensitized to harm the subsequent babies that are going to be positive. The subsequent babies, if they are positive, you may not be able to check when they are inside, when they are still before delivery. So it is important that the mother takes this injection. Let me tell you my own story. For the first 25 years of my life, I was always believing that because my other siblings were O positive, I was O positive. So before our marriage, my husband took my consent and he took my samples. And he took my sample and he asked me, said, do you know you are resource negative? It was my first time of hearing about this resource factor. I said, how do you mean? I was scared. I said, hope it's not HIV. He said, it's not HIV. He said, you are resource negative. I said, so what are the implications of this? And this was how he explained what I'm explaining to me. And after each of my deliveries, I've always taken Rogamol. And I'm grateful to God. Today, I'm blessed with children. And I do not have any issues, in pregnancy. And it's, so it is important that you are not ignorant like me. Thank God my husband is aware of this. You can imagine if I am resource negative and I don't know. Imagine if I marry somebody who is ignorant like me, and if we don't, take this and run this test before marriage, you can imagine what will have happened to our children. So I've always been taking Rogamol after each of my delivery, and I've been fine. My babies have been fine. And 23 years after now, I can say that God is good. The next one I'll be talking about is your genotype. It's your genotype. There are various groupings too under the genotype. There are various groupings under the genotype. And one of them that is of significance in our environment is the AS immunoglobulopathy. And it talks about, and under this, it talks about you either being an AA or an AS. It's either under the genotype, you are either AA, AS, or you are an SS. Each of us. And we take, each of us is either any of those three. You can be any of those three combination. And this thing is taken as received from our parents. This genotype, we take it from our parents. And what a baby is what each parent donates. Each parent donates either an A or an S. What do I mean? When a father is AA and is going to donate, he only has A to donate, so he may donate an A. When a father is AS, he asks between A and S to donate, so it's either he donates an A and an S. And when you are SS, the only thing you can donate is an S. It means that there's no other option of what you can take. What you are going to be taking is giving out is S. For SS is S. So you can only donate one. The father would donate and the mother would donate. So usually we advise that, an A can marry an AA but we don't advise that both parents are S. We don't advise that when both parents are S, you should come together. It means an AA can marry AA. It means an AA can marry AS. It means an AA can marry SS. But AS and AS cannot marry. Why? Because, having to bring up children that are SS, something you want to, something you want to do, because usually it comes with a whole lot of trouble and it breaks homes. So it is important that regardless of how the love is, shaking you and moving you now, it is important that you take this test and you make your decision so that your children will not blame you tomorrow. And so that, you both will be able to enjoy your marriage, enjoy bliss and harmony in your marriage. I am rounding up now, and I'm going to be talking on, there are some medical preferences you need to discuss with your spouse before you go on with your marriage. And one of those medical preferences is the use of drugs. I've met people of different faiths. I've met Christians, I've met Muslims, I've met traditionalists who does not use drugs. Some of them say, oh, we believe in divine healing and we don't use drugs. It is important that before you get married, healthy life choices like this, preferences like this, you should come together, decide and agree on them. You are a mother and you are not going to use Imatinix during pregnancy because you believe in divine healing. You should be able to discuss that with the father of those children, of those babies. Because usually most of this Imatinix and most of these drugs are usually not for you, but for the unborn child. So preferences like use of drugs are discussions and conversations you should have with your spouse. The next medical preference, one of the medical preferences, we have a whole list, but I'm just going to be highlighting, is the issue of blood transfusion. We have people of some faith, especially, I think the Jehovah's Witness, I'm sure of them, they don't take blood in any emergency, regardless of any emergency. They don't believe in taking drugs. They have other substitutes, other supplements they have to boost their blood. Regardless of any emergency, they don't take blood transfusion. And usually when you're going to have a surgery, any kind of surgery, it is, they will tell you that blood transfusion usually is a must. So issues around blood transfusion are discussions you should have with your spouse before you go on with the marriage. Oh, are you able to take blood? Some persons will tell you that I can take blood, but I can't donate blood. And usually when you go to hospitals, they will say, oh, when they match your blood and they see that it is, they match it and they see that it is okay with that of your spouse, they will ask you to donate. In fact, you are the first person they will ask to say, oh, come and donate blood for your spouse. In case of any surgery or any cesarean section, they will ask, let the husband will be the first point of call to say, come and donate. And vice versa for any form of surgery from any gender. So issues around blood transfusions are discussions you should make with your spouse before you go on with that marriage. The next one I'll be speaking about, one of the medical preferences you should discuss with your spouse is the issue about surgeries, minor surgeries, major surgeries before you go into marriage. Recently, a few weeks ago, I had the story of a lady who died, who bled to death because the husband was not willing to sign the consent for her to be operated for a cesarean section. And this man's excuse was that everybody in their family gives birth normally, believe in supernatural childbirth. And to say that in our family, nobody has ever. This is an avoidable death. This lady shouldn't have died. Maybe if she had discussed with her spouse before marriage. If the husband is like, oh, I can't allow you to do a cesarean section, and the option for you to do a cesarean section is for no doctor will operate any patient. You can get a family member who will sign for you. Another issue you should speak about and conclude about is by childbirth, family planning, childbirth control. To say, do you believe in family planning? Some husbands and some women will say, I don't believe in family planning. It is God. God gives children. You should decide about family, family planning and birth control. Another thing you should decide, lastly, is about assisted reproduction. To say, what if baby does not come early? Or what if the babies does not come at all? Do you believe, should technology help us? Do you believe in surrogacy? Do you believe in the use of IVF? Do you believe in, assisted reproduction and all this? These are decisions that discussions that you should sit down with your spouse to have. There are decisions that the list is endless. These are just few of the medical preferences that I have heard of and that you decide about. And another thing you should know is about the HIV status. So say, oh, I want to be doing our HIV test every 6 months, and I should be able to know your own, and you should be able to know mine. So these are, issues, medical issues, and lifestyle choices that you need to discuss and that you need to conclude and that you need to agree together as a team before you get married. And maybe you're on this call that you are married and you have not given all of those a thought. It is important that you enjoy harmony, that you enjoy bliss, that you keep enjoying the good health you have today, that you know, have discussions with your spouse around some of those things I have mentioned tonight, and your family will be better for it. It is important to do it now, even before the children comes, so that by the time the children comes, you are already used to it. You have already, you know, the system is already in place for the children to just come on board and enjoy. This discussion tonight is just one out of many systems you need to put in place before you go ahead with the marriage. There are a whole lot of other systems that you need to put in place. You may want to know what are these other systems that you need to put. Stay tuned on this channel on Start Your Marriage Rights Academy. And from time to time, we'll give you teachings around some of those systems about what you need to put in place so that you can enjoy bliss and harmony in your marriage. I don't know if you have questions in the chat boxes, and I don't know if you want to send your questions to us. We'll attend to it. I'm grateful for having you all on board tonight. I'm sure you have learned one thing or the other from tonight's teaching, and I'm sure you will use them, and our families will be better off for it. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you for staying on the call. Thank you. God bless our homes. God bless our marriage. Thank you. Good night, and God bless you. See you some other time. Bye. Are you sure? Okay. Are you sure? Stop.